Zach, this is Coach Oltman. This is your October pitching video analysis. I'm going to start by just playing through your delivery in slow motion. Okay, there are 5 phases of the delivery that I like to look at. Okay, the first phase is hip load. All right, hip load is where is your front leg going as you get into the height or the peak of your leg lift. Okay, so what I want to see is I want to see this front leg lift towards your back shoulder. All right, so if you look at yours, your front knee is going really far behind you. All right, that thing should be staying on a line towards your back shoulder. And what that does is that sets our hips up in a good position in order to effectively use our lower body, specifically our back leg, to drive down the mound. Okay, when we bring that front leg so far backwards, we have a tendency to step open and open up early with that front side, which can lead to a lot of problems. Okay, what has a tendency to happen is that front side, we tend to step with that front side instead of driving with the back side. Okay, so I want to see you kind of shift that front leg so that way it opens up, so it lifts towards that back shoulder. Okay, second thing is as you start to make your forward move, all right, I want to see your hips go first. Okay, so see how you kind of are just, you're working your way down the mound by stepping open with this front side. All right, I want to see when we get to the height of our leg lift, all right, I want to see this hip go first. Okay, and an easy way to do that is to think about getting your front hip slightly higher than your back hip. Okay, so if I clear all that out, all right, your front hip is going to be slightly higher than your back hip. This is much easier to do if that front leg is on a track going towards your back ear or your back shoulder. Okay, and what this does is this allows us to drive with our backside, which is a much more powerful movement than stepping open with our front side. All right, so those are some things to think about as we get into hip load. Okay, the next phase of the delivery is hip lead. Okay, and like I said, as we go from hip load to hip lead, I want to see that front hip slightly elevated. I want to see you drive down the mound with your backside. Okay, now if you watch your video, you're stepping open with your front side instead of driving with the back side. What has a tendency to happen when we step open with that front side is we're getting into our quad to rotate and not getting into our glute. Okay, so one thing that I like to look for is as you get into hip lead, which is where that front foot gets outside or in front of that front shoulder, I want to see what's known as a knee pinch. Okay, we have to create an angle with this back leg in order to push into the ground. Now if you look, you're not really creating much of an angle. All right, there should be more separation with our back knee compared to that line from where we started. All right, you've got almost no separation at all, which means that we're not driving with our back leg. Okay, because we have to create an angle in order to push into the ground this way. So we need to see this back knee pinch in slightly in order to put force into the ground at an angle in order to propel us down the mound towards our catcher. All right. So if we're not creating that angle, we're not able to push into the ground effectively with the back leg, which means we have to step open with the front leg. So my guess is that you're not creating an angle because you're stepping open with your front side instead of driving with your back side, like I already mentioned. Okay. So then, as a result, let's look at what happens further down the chain. Okay, so you'll notice that as we get to this point, we are already getting up onto our toe on the front side. Okay, when we drive down the mound, we want to keep our back knee. All right, so I'll just put a little circle. Our knee should not go past our toes. All right, if I drew a line straight down, see how your knee has gone past your toes? Okay, we want our knee to stay back so that way we can keep our heel connected to the ground as long as possible because that activates our glutes. which is your butt muscles, and that allows you to rotate much more effectively and much more powerfully. Okay, when we rotate this way like you're doing up onto our toe, we lose a lot of power and lose a lot of velocity. Okay, so we need to really work on our lateral drive by check out the lateral drive drills on the app in order to fix this problem. Okay, and we'll see what happens as a result of this. Okay, so first, what you'll notice is that this back knee, instead of going straight towards the catcher, is actually going on a line this way. All right, see how it's going towards like the third baseline? Okay, we want that thing going that way towards our catcher. All right, so what happens because of this? All right, you'll notice we're getting more and more under our back toe. All right, so we're rotating through our quad, not through our glutes, so we're not using the most powerful muscles in our body in order to move down the mound. Okay. Now, because our momentum is going towards the third baseline, we have to open up significantly with the front side, all right, with your front leg, in order to get back on track towards the catcher. Okay, so look at how your front foot lands. All right, you overcompensate with your front side. It's kind of tough to see from this back angle, but you overcompensate with your front side going back this way in order to get you going straight down the mound that way. Okay, so if we can fix that direction with our lower half, all right, we don't have to have our body work against itself so much in order to get us going straight down the mound. Okay, so this will help with velocity issues. It'll also help with command, all right, because we're not working against ourselves in order to throw strikes. Okay. So that brings us to our third phase, which is hip separation. Okay, look, when I land, our foot, when we're in this position, our foot should already be down. Okay, but look, when you're here, it's almost like you have both feet touching the ground, but neither one is really pushing or driving or making solid contact with the ground. So basically, you're not getting any power from your lower half anymore. It's all coming from your arm. Okay, and look how far forward you are when your foot finally does land. Okay, when your foot finally lands, you're already here. Okay, when your foot should be flat on the ground, our body, our upper half, should be way back in this position. Okay, so you're losing a crazy amount of velocity because we're not keeping our feet aren't using the ground very well. All right, but all of that is a result of everything back here where we're not driving down the mound very effectively. Okay, so for you, Zach, the big thing will be your lateral drive drills over the next month. All right, and then as we get into foot strike and get into release, okay, as we release the baseball, remember we have to take all that energy that we created from our back leg. It has to, when we land, our front leg has to stop it, send it up our torso and out our hand in order to deliver the ball to home plate. Okay, now the best way to stop that energy is if this front leg is more extended, all right, so more straight. Okay, so if you check out the lead leg block drills, that'll help you. So basically what I do is when I see that that flexed front leg, or it's not fully extended, that shows me that there's a velocity leak there because we're not properly stopping our momentum down the mound and sending it up our torso and out our hand. All right. So Zach, a lot of things that we need to work on with our lower half. All right. And I highly suggest that you spend the next month checking out those lateral drive drills and applying them to your daily throwing program. All right. Like always, if you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask either Coach Glover or myself, and I look forward to seeing what kind of improvements you can make over the next month. Thanks.